Well, hello and welcome. I'm going to go ahead and say Happy New Year because it's with the new year here on us, it's about time for us to do some things differently for us. And today we're going to be talking about how to create our own happiness. So as I did the research for the show, I came up on a book by Professor Tal Ben-Shahar, and the book is Choose the Life You Want. So it simple goes to say that each and every one has the responsibility to choose our own life. And he asked some very important questions, and he made some bold statements here, which I think applies to each and every one of us. And he begins by saying, have you ever been dependent on others for your own well-being, or always rely on another for your sanity, calmness, love, happiness? People may never meet up to your expectations, and all that will result in disappointment, disgust, unhappiness. And the bottom line is that we are all going to be miserable if that's what we are deciding to do. Our happiness is our own responsibility. Robert A. Heinlein, he's the author of Stranger in a Strange Land, used this quote: "Love is that condition in which the happiness of another person is essential to your own." So what is the author telling us here? You know, I'm sure you hear this saying that we need to be lovable in order to be loved. And it's the same thing with happiness. So long as you demonstrate and you portray happiness, you are going to attract happy people around you all the time. The small stuff counts when it comes to happiness. It is the seemingly mini decisions we make day by day that can actually make a big difference in our life. You know, in the book by Dr. Professor Tal Ben-Shahar, he says, every moment of our waking life, we are faced with choices. And from those choices, we decide on the effect that they have on our life. We have to understand one important thing is that is either you're going to have results or you're going to have effect and impact. In our lives every day, we have to choose what it is that we want. How do we want to react with each person that we meet? If not greater than the effect of the big decision. So it doesn't matter the size of it. It's not the magnitude. It's more the quality of the decision that you make. So it's going to be a very thought-provoking segment for each and every one of you. As I tell my viewers all the time, when I do a show, it's more for me than it is for you. And also, my listeners, if I'm on the radio, what I'm doing, it's for me more than you. So it's not that it's higher than thou and that I have arrived. We are all in this together because Very often we find ourselves in situation, and oftentimes they're finger pointing that's going on. And we need to point the finger this way and look on the inside. He gives us several examples, such as saying something nice to his spouse or giving her a sour look, appreciating his health, friends, and food, or taking them for granted, sitting up straight or slouching over. All these things, the way we react to them, are the decision that we make. And the decision we choose to make would end up in our happiness or our unhappiness. It is empowering to realize that regardless of our circumstances, we do have a say in our satisfaction. And that is a fact. It doesn't matter what we are going through with. It's are we going to respond or we react? And if we respond, there are times when we say, well, I'm going to look on the lesson learned instead of looking on the issue and say, well, oh, this was a disaster. Bencher cites research from Jane Dutton, which illustrates just how much mindset can affect one experience with work. Their research found that hospital cleaners who viewed their work as meaningful, contributing to the health of patients and the smoothing functioning of the hospital, were happier than hospital workers who performed the very same task but did not see their work as meaningful. According to Benchers, there's been similar findings with engineers, restaurant workers, and hairdressers. To find meaning in your work, Ben Shahar suggests making the choices to focus on how your work makes a difference, on the parts you find interesting, or on the meaningful interactions with coworkers. If none of that rings true, you might focus on how work provides for you and your family, and lets you focus on what you love after work. It is so true, because you go into offices, you go into workplaces, cubicle, and a lot of times you look and those cubicles are intimately the person that is sitting there. They have pictures of their families, they have postings on the walls, they have a plant. And that environment, that person creates that environment because they want to be happy. And you need to make that surrounding yours. You're part of a bigger community. But when you look on your cubicle or your desk, you can customize that and let it be yours and create your happiness from that. You are there, it might not be your dream job, but you're there. And you're working there for 8 hours. And while you're there, just create it. Is it plant, poetry, whatever, a painting, whatever it is that makes you happy, you bring it and you put it in that space. Professor Shad here says, I was kicked out of a PhD program at the Cambridge University in England, the only student in my year, and one of a few ever to be expelled. All in all, it was humiliating. It was a humiliating experience and a wasted year professionally and academically. I was so unlucky. And that was one way he chose to look at it. But then he looked at it another way. You could either look at it the first example or the second. And here is the second example. I was kicked out of the PhD program at Cambridge University in England, the only student in my year and one of the few ever to be expelled. The experience turned out to be a blessing in disguise, preparing me for my future work as a consultant. It was at the time arrogant and full of myself, a likely perception for failure. Being kicked out of the program humbled me, and I ended up spending some of the best years of my life living and working in Asia. I am so lucky. So, you know, a lot of times we talk about learning the lessons from situation, and oftentimes you hear people say, when you're dealt lemon, you make a lemonade out of it. So he could have took it, the first example where he was devastated, speaking about being unlucky and all of that. However, he stepped back, took a stock of himself, look on the inside of himself, and realized there were certain situations that he needed to deal with in order to mold himself into a situation that placed him actually in a better position where he was able to touch other people's lives in Asia. He gives us 5 steps here, and that was the first one was view work as having a meaning. So it doesn't matter what you do. Are you volunteering? Are you working? Whatever it is that you're doing, view it as a positive and learn something from that. The second point he pointed out to us was to find the positive, which was what he gave the example of being kicked out of the program. And the third one is include pleasure boosters in your day. Infuse your day with bits of joy. Helps you refuel. Ben Shahar calls these brief mood elevating moments pleasure boosters. He incorporates these breaks on a regular basis to help him feel energized, happier, and more creative. He does everything from closing his eyes for a minute and imagining the person he loves, to listening to Beethoven's Sixth Symphony, to reading a poem by Pablo. So you see, each and every one has this responsibility to create our happiness. It doesn't take a lot. We look around in our surroundings and there's always something. Each of us needs to go back to that child in us. You know, each time if you have children or grandchildren, you know, in the springtime or in the summertime, they go outside and they will pick up a little bud. You know, it could be a blossom from a dandelion, and they come with all the pride, and they come and they give it to you. And we as adults tend to forget all those special moments where we can use those opportunities to create happiness in our own lives. The fourth thing that the professor pointed out to us is to embrace silence. I love that, I love that, I love that. For those of you who have been listening to my show for a while, you know that I always talk about journaling and silence and that. And I tell you something, silence is golden. If you can take even 20 minutes a day or half an hour a day and just sit down and close your eyes and have your journal next to you and just be still, It is as if you are dialing down from the universe, and you will get so much insight into all the things that you need to do for you. According to Ben Shahar, when we fill every moment of our life with sounds, we fail to realize our true potential. Silence, he says, helps us see better, be more creative, and develop a closer connection to our environment and ourselves. So, find moments in your day to savor your silence. We live in such a rush. We are always hurrying, hustling, and bustling. I know sometimes I do retreats, and we have some silent activities that I include in the activities, and adults, they get so anxious about it. And these are professional folks, these are corporate folks, and they are just so bent out of shape because they are so accustomed to the noise. It's the radio, it's the television, it's the music, it's everything, just a lot of noise all around us. So when we are blessed with this treasure of quietness and stillness, we tend to run away from that. So if you're one of those people who are reluctant to just try some quiet time and just be still, you're going to find that it will just add so much richness to your life. I encourage you, if you are not doing so, start off your day with a simple 10 minutes or 15 minutes of meditation. And you will find out that by starting off, it becomes a part of you, and it really enriches your life. The next point he tells us about is see challenges, not difficult situation. Again, each challenge is a lesson learned. The way we react or respond is what makes the difference, as I had mentioned earlier. My words do not merely describe reality, they create reality, writes Ben Shahar. In other words, when you view a situation as threatening, you are likely to get stressed out. But if you view the same situation as a challenge or an opportunity, you will likely be excited, energized, or determined. Take the example of giving a present. As Ben Shahar writes, you can either perceive a presentation as a potential disaster or as an opportunity to share your know-how with the public. The city's research from Joe Tomako, James Bashovic, and their colleagues, which found that students who were told that a math test was challenging ended up being calmer and performed better than students who were told it be difficult and view it as a threatening situation. We must learn to love ourselves first. We must learn to love ourselves first. Love the little things about you, and it will allow you to love everything about you. The bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot go around expecting others to love us unless we can love ourselves. There are lots of people who wakes up every day and they hate themselves. They wake up angry, they wake up hating themselves, and because of that, they end up hating everybody around them. They hate their family members, they hate the pet, they hate the people on the street, and they just wake up angry. And you cannot wake up angry. You cannot hate everything and everyone around you and expect to be happy. It does not happen that way. You want to be happy? You need to create your own happiness. It starts one step at a time. It's like a baby riding a tricycle. A toddler riding a tricycle. The first day they go on, they didn't pedal right away. They started off with training wheels. And if you have not been experiencing any happiness this new year, it's your time to put on your training wheels. And you go to the dollar store. I know every community has dollar stores. Go into the dollar store, buy some parchment paper and some the paper that you use to do arts and craft. Cut some big heart out. Put a picture of yourself in there and write, I love me. And you give yourself a hug and say, I love me. And because you're going to find that out, that once you begin to love you first, then you're going to need a pit bull to keep off all the lovers that's going to come your way. You need to free yourselves up. I need to free myself up. All of us need to free ourselves up. We need to demonstrate love. We need to be more lovable so that the love can come into our life and that we can live a daily life and experience lots and lots of happiness. Start the self-reflect. Start to self-reflect. Life is about giving it all you've got, not about receiving, and it's not about expectation. There are a lot of us that goes around with expectation. You didn't do this for me, you didn't do that for me, and the other, and the list goes on and on. Listen, you need to do for yourself. I remember a few years ago, I did a birthday party for myself, and some people couldn't believe that I gave the party for myself. And I said, I love me, so I need to do that party for myself. If I do not do that, I can't sit around and wait and say, I don't have a husband, and I don't have this, and I don't have the other. I love Daphne enough to do those things. And I challenge you to do the same thing. You need flowers, buy your flowers. You need to go to the spa, you go to the spa. You need to go out to dinner. If it's just you alone, if you cannot get a friend, go. Buy your wine, buy your dinner, enjoy yourself and be happy. You need a massage, you go out and you do that. Do not wait around and expect somebody to do for you. You owe it to yourself to do the best for you. Be one with yourself and your surrounding. Gather your thoughts. Attune yourself to the rhythm of the natural world around you. Even the same sunset can bring you great satisfaction, a new moment, and a new experience. Take the time to enjoy nature. You really don't have to go far. Turn the computers off. Get off social media. Walk around. Enjoy the leaves. Now, if it's in the winter, it's in the spring. Each season have such beautiful things in nature that can really help us to enjoy and enhance our life. So I want to close this segment and with a few quotes, and to think well of yourself and to proclaim the fact to the world. not in loud words, but great deeds, to live in faith, and the whole world is one with your side, as long as you are true to the best that is in you. You owe it to yourself to stay true to your health, to your happiness, to your success. If you're unhappy, it's not because someone didn't do for you. It's because you yourself has been neglecting yourself. Think that you deserve the best. Pamper yourself. Laugh at yourself. Be happy within yourself. Treat your inside like a sanctuary. Remember, whatever goes in comes out. So don't only look on the outside of yourself. Start from the inside. Choose the best foods for yourself, because that too will contribute to your happiness. Because if you walk around bloated and obese and all of that, you are not going to be happy. So find out the things that make you happy. Eat the foods that let your energy and the adrenaline pump and keep you excited. Don't overdo, whether you're drinking wine or whatever you choose to. Don't overdo. Do it in moderation, and be sure to drink the things that is contributing to your health and to your happiness. It is your responsibility to create the life that you want. I want you to come back for episode 2 when we will finish this conversation, because I want you to make the sacrifice that you are going to commit to creating your happiness. If it is to be, it is up to you. I am challenging you because I know that you can do it. Love you. I'll see you soon. And remember, episode 2 is coming, so we want to see you here again, listening to Creating Your Own Happiness.
Thank you.